Hello everyone, my name's Sal. I work for the Elite Catering Group, specifically with Paese Ristorante. And tonight we're here to do a night at the museum cookie decorating class. I hope all of you guys have received a package, and inside your package we have an assortment of different cookies that have been baked off specifically for your little fun event. So you're going to see some gingerbread men or women that are actually going to be mummies. Further to that, we have some dinosaur-themed shapes, a little Brontosaurus action, a little Tyrannosaurus Rex action. Sorry, no raptors this time. As well, for a little holiday theme and winter wonderland, we have a little bit of snowflake design as well. So we have both gingerbread and shortbread cookies. Also within your kit, you're going to see two colored icing sugars. They are royal icing, so you have a little bit of work time with them. Purple and white. They can be used interchangeably on each and any of the designs. Remember, creativity is eye of the beholder. So if you want a white dinosaur, you want a purple snowflake, the world is your oyster. Also, there's some additional decorating items. So there's some white pearls, some chocolate confetti, and some shaved coconut. So like I mentioned, there is no right or wrong in decorating. It's all about having some fun. Whether it's with your friends, with your family, with your kids, with your husband, with your wife, with your respective other, have a great time. To push forward, when we take apart our kit, sort of examine all the things, and so we'll notice on the purple royal icing, there's a little bit of discoloration, and that's normal. So when you receive it, just massage it gently, and you can get the color sort of intertwined evenly throughout your package, and it'll give you sort of an even purple color throughout. And it's just a settling of the food coloring that's used in the royal icing, and it's perfectly normal. So once you have a little even color throughout, the white, of course, is white throughout. There is a little bit of sort of settling of the color. Same thing, give it a light little massage, get everything evenly mixed throughout, and it'll allow for also even consistency, warms up the icing so it has a little bit more flow when you are piping it. Oh, we got a little bit of leak on this one. So if you see that there's a little hole or a little tear in your bags, I will examine your kits before they go out, so hopefully you won't have the same experience. But if by chance something like this occurs while you're piping, not to worry. I said all you're going to do is pull a little bit of the product out, keep a nice little cleaning rag beside you so it's messy and fun and sticky. Just going to get a simple elastic band. Could be the band from your rapini, could be the band from the broccoli, could be the band from the mayo. And we're just going to tie it tightly on the back end of your bag just to sort of seal the end. It gives you a little tight seal, so if you see when you squeeze it, nothing really seeps out the other end. We have our two icing sugars laid out. So let's get started with some basic techniques. Let's start with a Brontosaurus. So I wish I knew a little bit more about dinosaurs in general to give you a little more broadness. As I remember my elementary school and high school days, Brontosaurus was a herbivore, so ate vegetables. Roamed the plains, had an extremely long neck. Apparently a very peaceful dinosaur, but that's from 20 years ago, or 25 years ago of studying. Today we're going to make a purple Brontosaurus. So when you get your little purple icing bags, take one of the tips. We're going to make a small cut. So a pair of scissors or a knife, whatever works best for you. And my suggestion is you make a small incision so the opening is quite small. So you can see that you have a little coming out at a time. This allows you to have a little bit more control over your icing sugar. So when doing your techniques, the first rule of thumb, keep your bag in in both hands, and you sort of support it. So if you want to keep yourself steady, because a lot of times, we have shaky arms, hands, things like that, lean it against the surface that you're working on. And find out however you're comfortable, whether you have to use a higher countertop, a lower table, if you want to do it seated. I find standing works the best because you get a little bit more sight overview of what you're working on. So the first step is you outline the shape you're doing. Start with a point, and you're actually going to pull up and squeeze gently and outline. And as you go around, you follow the curvature as best as you can. I think I got it with my finger, but we can fix that later. As we go around, and keep it a little bit off the edge, because as the royal icing dries, it may actually sort of flood over the edge, and you want to keep it a sharp shape. And so once we have the outline, we'll let it settle for a couple minutes, and you keep it within range. Like I said, it's art. There is no right or wrong, as long as we're having fun. The next step, after we've outlined our design, is called flooding. So what we're going to do is flood the shape. So because we've already set the outline, that's sort of the perimeter of where the icing will stay in. So when we're flooding it, same technique, we're going to go around, and we're just going to fill in the areas. So we're going to follow the same design in and out. And we're going to go along the whole internal edge and keep on flowing and keep on flowing. And you're going to go over and over and over till everything is sort of filled in place. You're noticing that like it doesn't look clean, it doesn't look, uniform. Well, there's tools that are used to do this. We have an even sort of flow of all of the icing sugar that's required. So even if there's a little bit too much, it's not a big deal. You just have a thicker crust of sugar. I'm sure that someone with a sweet tooth will love it. If you have certain tools called an offset spatula, and these are pointing tools that allow you to flow the icing sugar evenly over your design. If you don't own any of these things, don't worry. I'm sure you have one of these items in your home. Maybe you had some pho the other night, or you had some Chinese food, and they gave you some Chinese chopsticks that you probably didn't use because you were just using a fork, or maybe you did use. Just give them a quick wipe off, and you can use this as sort of your pointing device to smooth out the surface of your icing sugar. Or if you have some barbecue skewers in your drawer at home when you make shish kebabs or for fondue sets, even use the metals from your fondue sets. That'll work as well. Or simply if you have a toothpick. A toothpick will work fine when you're trying to spread out your icing sugar. There is a little bit of work time with this, so don't worry, it won't dry on you right away. So I'll show you techniques with all of the items on different sort of designs. So the first ones I'll use the specialized tools. So being an offset spatula, offset because it's not straight. Most people probably have just a straight spatula. This one just has a little offset. And this is specifically designed for cake decorating. It's just about smoothing out your design. And so this dried a little bit, but we can fix all of these imperfections. So the other tools that are involved, that you can use are the pinpoint tools. So these, same type of thing. You're just dibbling and moving the fluid around until you get an even sort of texture. So if you see as you move it around, it blends in quite lovely with all the rest of the icing sugar. And like I mentioned before, you do have a little bit of time to work with it. You may have made this dry a little bit too much, but we can always fix that up. So if you find that you're a little bit of a perfectionist, you'll go back to your offset spatula and you can sort of spread out the thing. On the next one, we'll work a little bit faster. I'll do less instruction and straight design for you because yes, it is curing a little bit faster than I wanted, but it's okay. Now we have these multitude of decorations that were given to us. And like I said, we can do some different sort of little fun things. So we'll open up all our little assorted treats. So we have some white pearls, some chocolate confetti, some coconut. For me, let's make this like a little speckled brontosaurus. So on the back end, I'm going to take a little bit of our white pebbles and I'm going to speckle his back to give it sort of like the idea of his thing. So we're going to go up his little neck. And if you find one comes out of place, you can use your tool to sort of move things around, manipulate your icing sugar to make it a little more neat. We're going to put a few more up to his head. And we're going to give him a little eyeball. If you have little mini tweezers, even the tweezers you pluck your eyebrows with, wash them first, of course, and use those and sort of put one in his little eye socket. And if you keep on cleaning your tools because you find the stuff dries off, it'll keep a little bit of a neater presentation. And then we're going to use a little brown confetti to make a little mouth. Little smile on our brontosaurus. And that would be stage one. Let's put a couple of toenails maybe on. It'd be fun, little speckle, some toenails. And you know what? And there's our brontosaurus. I hope we've had fun making that. Let's pick another shape. Maybe let's go with our snowflake. So with our snowflake, we want to do traditional white and we'll make it like light and fluffy. Maybe we'll do a little inlay with it. Start off with the whites. So once again, we have our icing sugar bag. We're going to snip off a little tip. Like I said, once again, nothing too large. This way you can have a little bit more control with your piping bag. And once again, you're going to start with the outline. And if you keep it high, you can sort of manipulate how it goes around the shape. It's a little more intricate, the shape, because there is sort of multiple turns. But like I said, once again, as long as we are getting a nice outline shape and you're having fun, that's half the battle. So we're going to finish the outline, going through and around. So once you've completed the outline, flooding, again, just is filling in the area. So you're using the same royal icing. You're going to follow the outlines as best as possible. Some people will be neater at this. But like I said, you have room for error because we have our tools that we can move our icing around. So we're going to fill in this icing. So once the icing is filled in, we're going to get our tools. So this time around, we're going to use household. So as I said, we can use our chopstick. So use the light end of our chopsticks, and you can maneuver your icing sugar around into the spaces that are required to give you a little more of a texture. I actually like the idea of this being a little bit raised so you can see sort of the different levels in a snowflake, because snowflakes are all unique. There's no two snowflakes alike. Sometimes there's some nice raised edges, because I think when I decorate this one, I'm gonna use a little bit of coconut. So it's something fun to add a little bit of color to this called wet on wet icing. So basically you're using two of the same consistency icing. So you're not waiting for this to dry. I'm gonna outline my snowflake with purple to give a little bit of depth to it. So I'm gonna follow the same outline of the snowflake. And this will sort of seep in a bit. Because it's about the same consistency, it'll sort of flatten out eventually. It might have a little bit of ridge. And we just tap it out to settle the icing round smooth. And then you know what, like I said, I want to make it a little fun. I want a little bit of texture in there, so we're going to use a little bit of our coconut. I'm going to sprinkle it all around. And then I'm going to shake off a little excess. And then we got a yummy sugar cookie with coconuts. We're going to work on our gingerbread cookies. So this is in the shape of a mummy or sarcophagus. You know, I think when people think of the museum, even though there's a multitude of wonderful historic and current things that are going on there, you know, everyone gets drawn to Egyptians and Egyptian artifacts. So something fun that I love is definitely Egyptians and mummies. This is where we can be fun with. So mummies are don't necessarily look like this in general population, but we're going to decorate this in the form of a mummy. So we're going to start, like I said, once again, you can use whatever color icing you like. I'm going to start with the white. You know, start at a point and start the flow of your icing. Pull high. Nope. You know what? If you feel like you've made a mistake and you want to start over, by all means, get a rag and you can clean it right off. Once again, we're going to fill a lot of the areas, so that's something you can do if you feel like you want to start over. But like I said, it's fun regardless. We'll start with the points. So like following the outline. So you give it a little bit of height, and you can maneuver the icing a little bit better. Rounds are difficult, so if you find that it's coming off, you'll take that little bit off. You can start back at point and connect. Like I said, once again, we're going to blend everything in, so you won't see as many imperfections. We've done the majority of our outline. I'm going to fix this little piece up a little bit. So the outline also, what it serves for is to prevent from spilling over the edges. You know, if you feel like you don't want sort of overflow, you outline, and you can push it in a little bit more so you can see a little bit more of the outline. So if you go back to like our brontosaurus, you can see you see a little bit of the sugar cookie still outlined. This one seems a little bit tighter, but we'll see how it turns out. So now we're going to go to the process of our flooding. So flooding, once again, is filling in the internal areas. So we're flooding this quite lovely. So once we feel like we have enough icing on there, we're going to go back. So like I said, we're going to go back to using the tools that you might find in your home. This time around, I'm going to use our shish kebab skewer or something from our fondue set. So the pointed end can do a little more fine detailed work, but if you do use the flatter end, you can get a little bit more work. So you're just going to work the icing into the areas that you didn't get coverage on to give you a little bit more of a smooth look. This one I wanted also to have a little bit more texture as well, because you think about all the wraps of a mummy. All we're doing here is sort of identifying a figure. But what I think might be fun is I'm going to use the purple icing here to make like strands of mummy wrap. Once again, with our overlay, with our wet icing, and just go side to side, zigzaggy. It's all about having fun and how you want to design it. And give you a little bit of idea of sort of different levels and to give you some texture, but let's have fun. For the mummy, let's maybe give a couple chocolate sprinkle eyes. And look at that. That one looks like a smile. We're going to put a smile on our little mummy's face. Got a little crooked eye here. Oh, well, you know what? We'll use a toothpick since you'll probably have a toothpick at home. And now you can sort of manipulate your decorations as need be on place. And let's let's sit on a little cloud of coconut. And we're going to take off some excess coconut. Let's put a little more coconut on there. And there's one of our mummy designs. We're going to do another mummy, but we're just going to do an outline perspective. Where you're going to see the different contrasts is you're going to see the contrasts on the actual gingerbread cookie as your backdrop. So this one here, same sort of setup. We're going to outline the exterior. So start from the point that you feel comfortable. Okay. So this one, how I mentioned, I didn't want to flood this one, so we're just actually going to go make layers of wrap, letting the brown exposed, so you can actually still see your design. So it's a little more abstract. You're going to put strands wherever you think to look. And to me, you get a little bit of a look that those are the wraps. Oh, let's put like one more line on his arm. And it gives you the idea that he's a wrap mummy with the backdrop of the dark color of the gingerbread. I'm a lover of coconuts. Maybe you're not. I'm going to sprinkle coconut over the thing so it gives a little more texture to your gingerbread man. And then we're going to take it. Let's put a little bit more on so the guy grabs a little bit more. And just shake off the excess. And this is our little fun little wrap mummy that's just outlined and not flooded. I think we have one more shape in here that we haven't done yet. Oh, we have the big bad T-Rex. I'm sure that everyone knows that the T-Rex had little arms, was one of the major predators of the dinosaur kingdom. I think it's almost one of everyone's favorites besides the raptor, the velociraptor, of course. Depending where you live or how your kitchen's laid out, you know, it's not an overly messy job and it's easily wiped and cleaned. You can do it straight on your kitchen countertops, whether they're marble, Corian, what other product. Being limited to the two colors we have right now, we have purple and white. Go to an old-time favorite, Barney, the purple dinosaur. We're gonna make a purple T-Rex. Start from all of our techniques. I'm just gonna clean off the tip. So if you find that you've let it sit for a bit and is dried, just so you have a clean tip, just take a little Kleenex and wipe off the edge so you have a clean work area. So this way it'll come out the bead that you'd like. We're going to start at a pointed end. Work with control. If you need some support, use your other hand to support your hand to prevent shaking or to give you a little bit more stability. So we did our outline on that one. You know what? Let's do a flooding like we did on our Brontosaurus and our snowflake. So once again, we're going to start tracing our outline internally. In this area here, like you don't have to be as detailed. Like you have, like I said, you're going to use your tools to spread out the ingredients. So you're going to just follow the inlay to fill up most of the area. So, you know, as you're doing your flooding, like I said, if you miss some space, you can go backwards. And you just keep on going in and out, in and out. And depending, sometimes you'll have a little more watery consistency in your icing, which is fine. It might be a little bit drier. The more watery it allows you to actually sort of move it a little bit and have a little more work time. I'm going to go back to our chopstick that we have in our houses, hopefully, or you can use a toothpick. And what we are doing is we manipulate the icing sugar around to fill in all the gaps, fill in all of our areas. Texture is okay, but if you like that smooth look, offset spatula. If you don't have an offset spatula, just a regular spatula. And we're just going to spread our icing sugar around. And then give it a little tap. You know, let's give them a little white pearl eye. Oh, I'm going to put too many on there. We're going to take it off. I'm going to try to take them off. Well, if not, we're going to bury it in there. No one's the wiser. It's a little secret for someone when they bite into it. So we give them a little eye. Let's give our Tyrannosaurus Rex a little brown speckled trail on his back, down to his tail. And you know what? If you want to move things in place, like I said, you can use a toothpick or any of your little devices to move things where you like them. But I think the whole fun of it is let it where it lies. Let's give him a couple toenails, maybe 3 little claws. Perfect. And that's our little fun little T-Rex. Actually, let's put a little coconut stripe on here. For the coconut to stick a little bit better, you got to apply a little pressure, whether it's with your toothpick or with your fingers. And if you let it set, once it hardens, it will actually sort of stick in place. And then there's our T-Rex. So I think we have time to decorate one more cookie. I think we're going to do one last snowflake. So this one I'm going to do similar to we did to our second mummy, where I did just an outline to get a little more background color. So we're not going to flood the whole cookie on this one. So we're going to take 2 colors on this again. I'm going to start with a purple royal icing on the outside. So once again, like all our other cookies, you start with a point and with enough pressure, put some flow. So I'm not sure how to describe the pressure to you. It's gentle but firm at the same time. Like you're not trying to squeeze the hell out of the bag, but like I said, the smaller the hole doesn't allow you to allow that much product through. So we're going to follow the outline of our snowflake with the purple is my first choice. And like I said, none of this is planned out, so this is all coming from my head and my decorating. Same with yourselves. You know, make all the designs you want. So, you know, I'm going to do some little dots in the corner here of white. And then I'm going to do a little spot. I'm going to do some triangles, some triangular shapes. And we're going to go back to the purple bag and add a little bit of purple. I'm going to do some purple lines now. And you know what? We're going to finish this off with some white pearls. So we're going to sprinkle some white pearls all around. And this is, you know, you can put like a little paper towel underneath if you want to collect the pearls so it doesn't roll all over the place. You can have a dish underneath. So I'm going to flood it with a bunch of pearls because I want them to stick wherever they stick. Because what I'm going to do after is I'm just going to turn this over and we're going to see what our design looks like. So I'm going to take the little plate I have, some paper towel, and we're going to turn it upside down. And you see our little design. So, you know, we had some fun with it today. We got some pearls. We did some different techniques where we flooded it. We just outlined it. And so these were my finished designs. I hope you had a fun and great time and you used your creativity. I hope they came out all the ways you love. Product of some of my designs. I hope yours came out the way you liked. I'm very happy with the way mine turned out today. Nothing left to do but eat it. Delicious. You have abundance of more icing sugar and cookies to do on your own. But I hope you enjoyed the time we spent together today. Wish you all the best and a happy holidays to everyone out there.